AM 630. WMAL.
8:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian, man cannot live by politics alone.
That's right. You've got to have a lot of variety, because variety, as they say, is the spice of life.
That's right. And, listen, I am such a huge fan of live theater, specifically Broadway musicals. I love them. I was raised with them. I worked in the industry for 20 years. And how thrilled was I when I found out that Les Mis, my absolute favorite show, is not just coming to a cinema near me, but it's actually playing at the National Theater, in my opinion, the most beautiful, intimate Broadway theater in Washington, D.C. It's playing right now through December 30th, wow. And I got to tell you, we often praise the amazing skills of our Uber producer, Heather Smith, but to get a Broadway actor out of bed this early in the morning is really something.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Andrew Varela.
That's close to being something that a religious figure is capable of doing.
That's right. This is a second rising of some kind. Andrew Varela, you play Javert in Les Mis, and first of all, thank you so much for waking up and joining us today. You've been at the National for a week now. Tell me, what's it like being in D.C. and playing in front of our audiences?
Well, I'll tell you what, the National, our show has been playing about at 3,000 seat houses now for so long. Coming back to the National and playing, it's 1,400 seats, and the audience is right in your lap. And what it allows you to do as an actor, it allows you to, instead of having to play to the back wall, you can play for the emotional expression that's right there. Your face becomes, you have to focus. Your acting style becomes much more intimate because the space is intimate, and we're actually talking about all the actors. It's actually really nice to actually reconnect with a piece on that level with the audience right there.
Well, talk about reconnecting with the piece. You were playing Javert, which is sort of the heavy in the show. It's a complex character though, because it's not just a one-note bad guy, and I think that you bring a lot of nuance to that role. But this is a new staging of Les Mis for you to deal with. You were actually in the original Broadway Trevor Nunn staging, which I think everybody knows, with the turntables. Tell me about this new restaging and how it's made you approach it differently as an actor.
Well, I think one of the things that the director and I discussed when we were putting it together was that they wanted Javert to be a human being. So what that allowed me to do was to approach him as a cop rather than just a bad guy. And what I tried to do while I was constructing the character was to make sure that everybody saw Javert was just trying to do his job. He's sort of this iconic bad guy, but the thing is, he was only doing what society had tasked him with doing. So I think it's been so gratifying to see that the reviews and people like yourself have noticed that new sort of reimagining of this character. But as far as the piece goes, one of the biggest changes is that we've started using these high definition projectors, which fire onto the back wall of the theater, and they move, and they have these wonderful images that are derived from Victor Hugo's own paintings, and so you're getting twice the Hugo for the price of one. I like to say it's really it's bigger bang for your theater dollar.
There you go.
All right, so there's also a movie version of Les Mis coming out, and that's a very different thing than seeing it in a theater. Talk about the difference between seeing something on the big screen and actually being in a theater. Why is there an advantage to going to the theater?
I think that when you go to the theater, you're seeing a live person up there, you actually have a different sense of the action and the story that's taking place. You're much more invested because you're not looking down at your popcorn. You're not thinking about what time you got to get back out to your car. You're actually looking at a dude right up there singing his heart out, crying, laughing, doing whatever it is, and you instantly become an order of magnitude more invested in what's going on because you're watching a human being do it. Movies are great; they allow you to do all kinds of different things with the locations and whatnot. But I think if you're going to see a piece live, it really has a huge impact on you from the get-go.
Let me tell you something also, Andrew, I will not put you in the politically untenable position of criticizing the film, but I'll say this. I haven't seen it. I've only seen the previews. But this Les Mis is an epic, sung-through musical. The music and the voices are what it's all about. And let me tell you, I have seen so many productions of this show, and what's happening right now on the National Theater stage is the greatest set of voices singing this stunning music that I have ever heard. And so if you like the music of Les Mis, you've got to get to the National. Now, Andrew, listen, I come from the theater world. I worked worked on Broadway and in Los Angeles at a Broadway house, and I was what I like to call myself a closet conservative. Now, I appreciate you coming on this station because I'm guessing you're a crazy liberal, right?
Yeah, well, you would think that, but no, I'm that most unusual of things. I'm a conservative actor. Oh, exactly. We're not quite so closeted anymore, but we're still a small bunch.
So you're the one.
It's intimate. We're an intimate bunch.
Do you have a meeting and you meet every week in a phone booth, right? Well, what's that like?
It's me and a bunch of stuffed animals.
Listen, I remember vividly the 2004 election, Bush versus Kerry, and I was working on a show, and it got testy backstage. What was it like on the road? You guys, when you're in a touring company, crew and actors and everybody, you're a family. You've got to. I mean, what was it like? Was there any tension?
Well, there was honestly, we were very respectful of each other, and I was people. There's this one guy on the show. He'll say something. He'll trot out some line, some liberal line, and then he'll just watch my face to see how I'm going to respond to it. It actually became a joke in the cast, like "Don't get Varela started," that kind of thing. And so, but I think that the quality of the discourse was very high, and we kept it on a very professional level backstage throughout the whole election. And although on election night, when everything was going down, people would everybody knew not to talk to me. So I mean, that's how it went. That's how it goes.
Well, I want to follow up then, because specifically to Les Mis, Andrew, I wrote a piece for Big Hollywood early in my career saying that Les Misérables is actually one of the greatest conservative musicals out there. What do you take a take on that? I don't want you to make the show political, but do you see conservative ideology there on stage?
Well, I do. Although we're running around with red flags all the time, but it feels like everything it feels like what we're talking about on stage is self-determination and leaving people alone, and those are sort of the hallmarks of this sort of conservative movement that's happening in the country.
Yes.
And I think you're right. I think people don't necessarily. It's so funny to see people on the left using Les Mis music and whatnot as sort of a hallmark of what that ideology is, but broken down, it does have a lot of conservative
absolutely traditional family values and the struggle against the oppressive, all-encompassing government. Andrew Varela, outed as a conservative actor here on WMAL. Thanks so much for joining us. Go back to sleep.
Your life will never be the same.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day.
All right, everybody, follow him on Twitter. Now that he's committed himself, you should follow him, Andrew Varela 525, and get over to the National and see Les Mis. I'm serious. It's a wonderful production.